Why did God change Jacob's name to Israel? Answer: in the biblical narrative, God changed Jacob's name to Israel after a significant event described in Genesis 32:22-32. Here's a brief explanation. The wrestling match. Jacob wrestled with a mysterious man, often interpreted as an angel or a manifestation of God, all night. This event is known as Jacob's struggle at the Jabbok. The naming: after the wrestling match, the man said to Jacob, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men, and have prevailed." Genesis 32:28, ESV. Symbolism and meaning: Jacob literally means heel grabber or supplanter, reflecting his earlier life where he was known for trickery, like taking his brother Esau's birthright and blessing. Israel is derived from Hebrew words which can mean he who struggles with God or God strives. This new name reflects Jacob's transformation from a deceiver to someone who has directly encountered and struggled with the divine, emerging changed. Spiritual and theological implications: this name change signifies a new identity or covenant relationship with God. It marks the beginning of the nation of Israel, as Jacob's descendants would be known as the children of Israel. Theologically, it can be seen as an emblem of transformation, perseverance, and divine favor, where human effort meets divine grace. This narrative has deep significance in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions, each interpreting the event in ways that resonate with their theological frameworks but generally agreeing on the core elements of identity transformation and covenant. Doesn't Jacob's struggle to be renamed Israel mean that Israel means to let God prevail in your life rather than indicating a place, a land, a people, or a nation-state? Answer: your interpretation touches on a significant aspect of the narrative and its theological implications, particularly in spiritual or symbolic terms. Here's how this perspective can be understood. Spiritual transformation: when Jacob's name is changed to Israel, it indeed symbolizes a profound personal transformation. The name Israel, meaning he who struggles with God or God strives, can be seen as an acknowledgement of Jacob's submission to God's will after a struggle. Thus, your interpretation that it signifies to let God prevail in your life aligns with the idea of spiritual surrender or yielding to divine guidance. Beyond geography or ethnicity, while Israel certainly refers to a land, people, and nation-state in historical and biblical contexts, your point brings focus back to the spiritual lesson of the story. This reading underscores that the essence of being Israel transcends physical or political identity. It's about the individual's or community's relationship with the divine. Multiple layers of meaning: theological: in theology, this name change can be seen as a paradigm for faith where one wrestles with doubts or challenges but ultimately relies on God. Personal: for individuals, it could be a metaphor for personal growth where one's life is aligned with divine purpose, reflecting a journey from self-reliance to God-reliance. Collective identity: for the descendants of Jacob, it became a collective identity marker, but with an underlying spiritual connotation of being in covenant with God. Scriptural context: the Hebrew Bible often uses personal names to convey deeper meanings or destinies, and Jacob's renaming is one such instance where personal transformation has national implications. However, the narrative's placement in Genesis before the establishment of Israel as a nation suggests that this transformation was initially personal and spiritual, with communal and national implications following later. Thus, while Israel does denote a place, people, and nation-state in many contexts, your interpretation highlights a crucial spiritual dimension that is equally central to understanding the biblical narrative. This dual aspect, the spiritual and the national, reflects the multifaceted nature of biblical stories, which can be interpreted on both personal and collective levels. Israel denotes a place now, but isn't this a departure from the original meaning inferred in Jacob's story? Furthermore, isn't anybody who follows God's path also an Israelite? Answer: your questions delve into the evolution of the concept of Israel from its biblical origins to its contemporary understanding, as well as the spiritual inclusivity of the term. Departure from original meaning: biblical context. In Jacob's story, Israel is initially about a personal transformation and relationship with God. This name change signifies Jacob's struggle with and dependence on the divine, highlighting a spiritual journey. Therefore, the original meaning is indeed more about spiritual identity than physical geography or nationhood. Historical development: over time, Israel came to denote the collective descendants of Jacob, then the land they inhabited, and eventually evolved into the name of a modern nation-state. This shift from a personal to a national identity marks a significant departure from the narrative's original focus, where Israel was more about spiritual allegiance than territorial or ethnic identity. Universal spiritual adoption, inclusivity in spirituality. Your second question touches on a broader theological interpretation present in various religious traditions. In Christianity, for example, Paul's writings in the New Testament, like in Galatians 3:28-29, extend the concept of being Israel or children of Abraham to anyone who has faith in Christ, suggesting a spiritual lineage rather than just an ethnic one. This idea posits that anyone who follows God's path, regardless of birth, can be considered an Israelite in spirit. Jewish perspective: within Judaism, this idea might be nuanced differently. While there's a strong emphasis on the covenant with the Jewish people, there are also teachings about the righteous among the nations, non-Jews, who have a place in the world to come, indicating a form of spiritual inclusivity. However, the primary association with Israel remains tied to the Jewish people and their historical and spiritual narrative. Interfaith and Universalist views: in interfaith or Universalist perspectives, the idea that anyone who follows God's path can be an Israelite resonates with the notion that all people can have a personal relationship with the divine, transcending traditional boundaries of ethnicity or nationality. In summary, while Israel has undeniably taken on strong geographical and national connotations over time, the original story of Jacob's renaming points to a deeper, more spiritual meaning. This spiritual dimension suggests that the essence of being an Israelite could be about one's spiritual journey and relationship with God, potentially applicable to anyone who aligns themselves with divine will, regardless of their background. However, this interpretation must be balanced with the historical and cultural significance that Israel holds in Jewish tradition and modern geopolitics.